Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show, the podcast. One I hoped would be a somber one because I thought we'd be able to be like, hey, guys, we actually killed the shrinkage. But here we are. It's very much alive, and I would argue it's never going to die, unfortunately. So we have our buddy Jay Mills here, who's going to give us a different look on shrinkage that I think I can provide for you or anybody else can provide for you. Jay Mills, very high-level player, understands the technical ins and outs of everything, how certain things affect other things, and is someone maybe a lot of the community, if you're only watching 3 or 4 creators, you don't know a lot about Jay Mills. So this will be a cool introduction to him as well. So thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Excited to talk more about this. So I guess quick background, because I don't want to do all the talking. There's a reason there's a guest here. Quick background on why we're talking about shrinkage again on you're listening to this, what, May 5th or something like that. We're recording this on Friday, May 1st, just for context. So giant game patch came out. You could argue this was the giant game patch we all expected when they said there would be a giant game patch, and yet it was not a giant game patch. In the giant game patch, couple of things. Addressed cheating, kind of. Verbally addressed it, which I'll take, appreciative of that. They did address lineup lag screen cheating, so that's, or lineup screen glitchy cheating crap, so that's good. Strike zone changes. The strike zone actually is not changed. It's visually different, but I think it'll encourage people to swing more, so I'm happy about it. But then there was a whole big blurb on shrinkage, basically saying, hey guys, told you we were going to get rid of it. Turns out here's why it's here and not going anywhere. So shrinkage will affect many different people in many different ways. Depends on the difficulty you play, how evident it is, how prevalent it is. If you're using all switch hitters, it's not hurting you a ton. But it doesn't make sense anyway. It's like an illogical feature that some outright say maybe it's just a bug and they can't fix it. Basically, why Jay Mills is here, like I said, he runs every or knows how everything relates to each other, what impacts what, quirks, hit per 9, K per 9, like really understands the nuances of it. So what is your perspective on shrinkage? Not even positive, negative, but like what and why is it?
I do think it's intentional. They may not have put it in the game intentionally in the first place, but I think at this point they have figured out how whatever line of code they wrote causes it works. Mm-hmm. Because last year when they introduced GOAT and took it away, rest in peace.
Happy about that.
They did put out a patch first where they reduced the impact of shrinkage because we had a collection Darren O'Day for getting, I believe, the entire AL East very early on in the game. So basically everyone who was playing any meaningful amount of ranked season games on GOAT first season had collections done.
Yeah.
And pretty much you were guaranteed to face O'Day throwing low and away sliders for probably an inning. And there was nothing you could do until his energy got into the yellow.
You couldn't see the PCI. The PCI was non-existent.
The PCI would be smaller than the baseball.
Yeah.
Didn't matter who you were using. It was crazy. So they saw those clips and were like, all right, we need to tone this down. And they did. And it actually helped a lot even since then, because we still have GOAT and Diamond Quest. And I mean, at least for me, that was a very good way to make stops last year. They've kind of nuked that this year, but it's at least something I can do to keep my thumbs loose if I don't feel like sitting in queue forever for a ranked game.
Sure.
So I think they know how it works. I don't know why they're so adamant that they don't want to change it though.
Yeah, it's mostly universally hated, but there is a pretty vocal segment of the population who maybe are less comp, and that's not a negative. Like, you're just less comp. That's fine. Who think it adds realism to a baseball game. So here's a couple things I'll say to you on that. This is not real. we're playing a fantasy input-based video game. And I always say, and it's not always a perfect catch-all, but like if you really want the realism, go play franchise. Franchise is incredibly realistic. And that's not me saying get the hell out of my Diamond Dynasty mode. That's just like there is a realism part of the game, and it's called franchise. It exists and actually is awesome for realism. MLB The Show does great offline stuff. The other thing I'll say is I've never seen a real-life baseball bat shrink when they're swinging. So I that's not realistic. I don't get it initially. Like just on the surface, I don't get it. And then the explanation that was just given to us was, oh, your PCI will get bigger when curveballs hang because they're easier to hit. They're already easier to hit. It doesn't need to get bigger. They're easier to hit because they're easier to hit. They're not easier to hit because my bat explodes. I think they've just lost the assignment a little bit. They talked about how it's, in their eyes, chiefly responsible for addressing foul ball issues. I'd argue that it has not changed, really. Like, are foul balls any better than they were 5 years ago? I don't think so. Maybe like a smidge, but not enough to make that much of a difference. So I don't see the end goal of it. And I think they're just sticking to their guns at this point.
Yeah, I mean, on the foul balls, I
get conceptually why they think it might work, but it's not actually.
Right. I mean, I sit there and just actually foul off probably more low and away sliders now, as opposed to putting them into play
because you can't square it up.
Can't. Otherwise, it's an out. Yeah. So maybe that's me being a high skill player kind of thing. I can just foul off those until I just get scammed because of desync. But they've put out 2 patches in the last 5 years to actually nerf the outer PCI, and it's still not enough. But that's what's causing all the foul balls, is because they give you way too much grace on the ball being out of your PCI. As far as, their explanation, PCI gets bigger when you hang a curveball. Sure. I mean, I understand the logic. I don't think it has a place in the game, personally. Like, they have 3 play styles baked into the game, like casual, balanced, and competitive. DD is always on competitive.
Mm-hmm.
I just think on competitive that shrinkage shouldn't be a thing.
It should be all input based.
Right. And they've said that on stream before. Ramon's gotten up there and said, like, stick skills reign supreme. Like, was basically the quote. This was like 3 years ago at this point, but yeah, I remember everything they say. But they've said that if stick skills are supposed to reign supreme, then why can I sit there and just throw sliders?
Mm-hmm.
And if you have low vision, GG's,
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense from a competitive balance perspective. It doesn't. There's the argument from the realism perspective. I just don't. I mean, they marketed the game as the most authentic baseball, like, not simulation. I mean, they probably use the word simulation there, but most authentic on-field experience ever, or whatever, was one of the terms in their pre-launch marketing. And that scared me until Chris Gill got up there on the pre-launch stream and said, oh, actually, no, we took it away. And then someone wrote this. Kind of sounds like him. Kind of sounds like how he explained shrinkage and defended it the first time in the first stream. Or maybe it was the second one. Either way, when he got up there and defended it first and then walked it back right before the game came out, this kind of sounds like how he was defending it. So I wouldn't be surprised if he wrote this. But
yeah, it's like,
I don't know. Whoever wrote it didn't sign it.
They had to have seen, though, like, there was zero negative reaction to them saying we're taking it away. In fact, it was perhaps the most positive reactions ever been for the game in at least the last 5 or 6 years. Right next to taking sets and seasons away. I would say it was on par with sets and seasons dead, shrinkage is dead. They were right at about the same tier. And then they just decided, you know what? We don't want them to be happy. I don't get the condescension in the whole thing is really what pisses me off. If they had just stuck to their guns initially and not walked it back, I would just be like, listen, I don't like it, but it's a gameplay function. We're dealing with it. The audacity to speak to us like this, and maybe it's because I'm an adult and who am I to be spoken to like a child? It's just like, I can't vibe with that, and I will not.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been sitting here holding out hope for 7 weeks that they'd actually do what they said they'd do. Because when I sit here and play mostly Legend when I'm playing online, it takes 7 or 8 ranked season games to get there once you start off at 700. So, and then plus I've played maybe 130 co-op games this season. So I've been sitting at like 12 to 1300 there, playing with people who are 12 to 1300. So I'm either on Hall of Fame or Legend, because sometimes the co-op rating thing bugs or whatever, and you get put on Hall of Fame anyways. But I'm playing on the 2 difficulties where you get PCI shrinkage constantly, and it is demoralizing. Losing games to shrinkage and cheaters, another problem. But
we can get there at some point.
sticking with the shrinkage, it's just like you sit there and you invest an hour of your life into a 9-inning ranked seasons game, hour and 15 minutes if it's co-op, because it adds 2 to 3 seconds of delay between every pitch. And when you lose because you take a swing and you just completely do everything right, and the game's like, oh, sorry, your opponent picked a slider, so what you did doesn't matter. It just gets kind of frustrating. So
yeah,
I don't know. Last 3 weeks I've played maybe 5 games.
Yeah, I don't blame you for that. I think so. There is, I'm trying to frame this correctly because I know what I want to say. I want to make sure I say it right. The larger player base in almost any game or in society, we're not going to bring it into that, but just generally speaking, the larger majority always will say, as they should, why should somebody cater to the 1%? So in this instance, Legend consistently, or people playing Legend consistently are that 1%. I agree with that sentiment when it comes to content direction. There's been a big conversation lately about the amount of content, and the content is scaled for people who play just a little more casually. And listen, SDS can make the argument that's the direction they want to go. Fine. But catering gameplay to 1%, catering is not even the right word. Adapting gameplay to the 1% actually helps everybody. Because if you're tuning something to perfection at the highest level, it's not going to negatively come back, at least in this MLB The Show sense with shrinkage specifically. It's not going to negatively impact your experience lower. At least I don't see how. And again, I'm not speaking as a 1% player. I'm probably a 1% time spent, but I'm a Hall of Fame player, and I choose to live there. I hate Legend. I don't like it. It's too frustrating for me. I'm not great at it. It is what it is. But I do genuinely think listening to feedback of higher ranked players, of which there are not enough employed at SDS who can help make decisions, I think that positively impacts the gameplay experience, and I just don't know how we get to that point.
I definitely agree with that logic. Arguably, shrinkage benefits me as a player. I don't like to abuse it because
depending on what role you're playing.
I have morals here. Like, I don't want to sit here and just throw 100 sliders the entire game. I did make a YouTube video doing that, and I felt disgusting. But
that's content. That's
switch
different.
hitters, so it actually didn't matter. But I felt gross just like with the concept of that video. Anyways, arguably shrinkage helps me because I have collections done. I had collections done 1 week into the game. I got Miggy the day he came out, having really not played for 2 weeks prior. Other than like some co-op, which really just doesn't reward you in this game.
Not really.
Different problem. I can sit here and put out 399s and 6 switch hitters. I can run 9 switch hitters. So then shrinkage isn't really a problem for me. the average player who the average Hall of Fame player who doesn't have collections done, maybe can put up 6 or 7 on Hall of Fame, experiences a legend game, and then runs into Tyler Rogers sitting there spamming sliders for 3 innings, and then Josh Hader, and then Darren O'Day, like half the game just being bug abuse or intentional game mechanics. Like it's not gonna make them want to play more on Legend
or strive to get better.
Yeah, it's demoralizing for me. I just have this sick addiction to playing baseball. So
yeah, I've said this before. I said it recently. MLB The Show's player base is loyal to a fault.
Yep.
And we're our own worst enemies in that sense. Like a lot of people say, just put it down and stop. I don't want to because I love baseball and I love baseball cards. Like exactly. I can't help it. I'm sorry. I don't know, man. It really frustrates me with the way in which this situation's been handled. You know, they built so much goodwill by saying, we hear your feedback. Because they always say, we listen to your feedback. We take your feedback. We adjust. They did. They adjusted. They said, we heard your feedback. You guys were ready to storm the castle. We're going to make sure Shrinkage goes away. So they came back, again, reiterating my point by basically saying, oh, we took away half of what it was, which I still don't buy that. But they also did not address that now shrinkers. That's actually a funny thing to call sinkers now. We're calling them that. We're calling them shrinkers. Sinkers make your PCI shrink. I can't believe I stumbled into that. Some change-ups do. And sometimes same side and sometimes low end. Like I just don't get it. It seems like it was an accident that they're just rolling with. And like you said, an accident that became intentional. And they're just leaning into it now because it's here. And it's just
that's how it felt for a while.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
They wouldn't address it. I think it was 24 where we started to notice it.
Yeah.
I think
was it the same time as lunge swings or was it right after lunge swings? Because I always wondered if it was tied to fixing those.
It started before lunge swings.
Because I always forget if lunging was 23 or 24, where it was really prevalent.
I think it was 24. Yeah, it was 24 where they changed how it. All they did was just change the animation, though. That's it. Like they didn't actually do anything that impacted hitting.
Okay.
But and that happened mid-year. Shrinkage was immediately a problem in 24 because we didn't have 99s the entire time. We started at 87s and ramped up, and then went back down, and then ramped up, and then went back down and ramped up. It was apparently also noticeable in BR in 23. I didn't play that much BR in 23.
I did, but I don't recall. But also on All-Star, this is my point about lower ranked players. You can hardly notice it on All-Star, at least not really as much. So it's not as impactful.
Right.
Generally speaking.
But when we were using cards with 85 vision and 125 contact day one, you know, it's not as much of a problem then. I mean, people still run 9 switch hitters, or we're running 9 switch hitters at the end of 25 because they gave us 50 switch hitters in like 3 months. But I have no idea if that's true. It just feels right.
It doesn't feel wrong.
I mean, we all called it MLB the switch hitter. So
yeah,
and that's what this game is turning into as well, because the content team does have this habit of trying to put out cards to counter the shortcomings of the gameplay team. In 22, it was just exit velos being dead, so everyone got crazy stupid amount of power, and as many secondaries as possible, so that you could use who you wanted, wherever you wanted, anywhere on the field, and they were able to actually hit. Like I was playing at Laughing Mountain back when it was 5K elevation, and good inside sinkers were dying at the wall until they started doing that. So
I just if they could have sold me fully on the benefits of it and the intentionality behind it, sure. But with looking for a realistic experience, you have to look at what the ripple effects are of what you're attempting to do to make it realistic. We've talked about it. It's all switch hitters. And you have people, because I talk about it a lot, people think I have a vendetta against switch hitters or people who use them. I don't. I have a vendetta against you if you use all 9 because I think you're better than you think you are. But Is a lineup of 9 switch hitters realistic to baseball? Not at all. I mean, in today's game, most teams don't even have one good one. And yes, we play in this fantasy world. I get it. I said that before. It's a fantasy land. I run an outfield of Pujols, Beltran, and Brian Reynolds. They would never exist together. Well, Beltran and Pujols could have, but you know what I mean. Jackie Robinson and Cody Bellinger share the right side of the infield. That's a better example.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't think having 9 switch hitters in response to your realism intentionality makes any sense. And even though they created better attributes this year in terms of hits per 9 versus left and right, K per 9 left and right, a change I think when we get to higher level cards, we will genuinely take advantage of. Right now, it's kind of just wishy-washy, whatever. Every pitcher sucks for the most part. I still don't think that's going to be enough to address the switch hitters. I think to address the switch hitter epidemic, if we're going to call it that, the shrinkage has to actually die because people will feel more comfortable using those one-sided hitters, like the guys that can't move to the other side of the plate, so their shrinkage goes away. It was an unintended, I think, consequence of this whole thing that they're still fine with, I guess. Like, I just don't get how they'd be so fine with that. They preach lineup diversity. Look at all these cards we give you. You can only use a third of them, if that, because they're not switch hitters.
Yeah, no, most of the content is collection fodder, and it's been that way really for 4 years now, at least. You know, most of the stuff they give us, like,
which it's a card collecting mode.
Sure, yeah, no, you need to collect cards. It makes sense, but I don't know. It felt like back in 21 and 20, even 22 to an extent, like there's a new content drop 3 times a week. And usually there's something in that content drop that could be a meaningful addition to most people's teams.
Yes.
23 was a little weird just with sets and seasons. Like
I throw that one away.
Right. They tried with 24 and I don't know. It's a weird year for me, so I didn't have that much time to play it anyways once it got past like set 3. But now it's like, okay, no, they don't do this. SHOWZONE like has put out graphics on how many diamonds they've released towards the end of the game cycle and showing year over year over year. And like they continue to give us more cards every single year. But they keep consolidating them into fewer and fewer drops.
Yeah, so just a bunch of big ones. Yeah.
Right. It just becomes harder for them to give us a meaningful sense of progression, content drop to content drop. Because you have Monday's drop, you get someone, maybe a new left fielder. Wednesday's drop, you get a new second baseman who's marginally better than live series could tell. Friday, you get a pitcher. Cool. But if they just consolidate that all into one batch with how aggressively they've been scaling overalls, we're going to have 99s way too quickly. Yeah. Because they keep giving us more cards. So then it goes from getting 3 good ones in a week to, it could be 5 new great people out of 50 cards dropped. And, they blew the power creep in like June. So,
but with all these drops, it's like you could look at Cityscapes came out today, boys and girls. So potentially still working on my thoughts on the drop as a whole. I think it's overall mid, but I'll work on more specific stuff. If you play at a high enough level, any hitter that was dropped doesn't matter to you unless they can hit from both sides. Jimmy Rollins collection reward probably being chief among them, though his power's kind of bad. I don't recall any other great switch hitters in the drop, but basically like there are guys with great swings.
Mickey Mantle.
I think Beltran's better. And maybe I have to do a better side-by-side. I think Beltran's better. His swing's better, too.
Beltran's swing is better. They did make an adjustment in, like, May last year. Or it was the update where I was like, oh, my God, tempo's dead. It's not. 1. 2, it made a lot of the legend swings actually better because they picked their foot up earlier.
Yeah, I don't think Mickey's swing is atrocious for what it's worth, but just as a 1-to-1, I think Beltran's is better. And
Right.
if their attributes are at least similar enough, I'd probably just stick with the guy I'm good with.
Mickey will at least be a balance hitter against both sides without needing
Fair.
a diamond power mod. So that's going to be valuable to
Correct.
some people.
Yes. But like the point basically being like all the fun cards that came out, like there are legitimately fun cards. Willie McGee, yeah, he got no power. Fun little card, super awesome swing, like elite level swing if you haven't used it. But if you play at a high level, you're just throwing that card away and not even considering it. It don't switch hit. I don't give a shit. And that's like, that should not be an acceptable outcome for SDS. The goal, or not the goal, the purpose behind dropping all these cards, other than for collections and fulfilling theme teams, is to provide options. And I always think STS should be encouraging us to try all these new cards, which maybe they're subliminally trying to do that. But by creating a meta in which switch hitters are the best, not just because they switch hit, but because of PCI shrinkage, they are inhibiting us from feeling creative enough to try new cards.
Yep.
Ultimately, like the onus is on the user, do what you want. But the whole point of, not the whole point, I believe metas should always be shifting. If a meta presents itself, it should be addressed, nerfed, and allow for a new meta to come through. Metas should constantly be in flux. In any game that's like healthy in its online environment, metas should always be shifting. We've had the same hitting meta, how we talked about, 3 years, basically? That's what we're going on? When was the switch hitter captain? I would argue that's the first one.
Yeah. Let's see. They just started captains in 23.
And was that the Carlos Santana captain, the switch hitting one?
No, he came year 2 in 24.
Okay, yeah, he was my nightmare.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story.
We don't need to go into that. But like, basically, what I'm saying is they've accepted this meta.
Yep.
And I don't get it. I just don't.
Everyone complained about sinker meta for 4 years, from 20 to 24 or 20 to 23, and then all right, cool. Here's a new one, sliders. It's 10 times more toxic. Oh, yeah. And now sinkers shrink as well.
Inexplicably. I don't understand.
They did a little bit last year. It's worse now.
And I wonder, are we using like low overall hitters and that's why it's worse? I don't know.
No. So like what they said in the update, it was like there's 2 different types of shrinkage. They got rid of one of them online
allegedly
only.
Yeah,
allegedly. It's just as bad. It almost feels like they tuned that up, because it's like, oh, we have this ability to really reinforce this realism concept that we want to put behind gameplay, where you have high off speeds get punished, because admittedly in 22 they were really disgusting. Still feel like it's a bit aggressive to do in an input-based video game, because spamming low pitches just isn't going to work constantly. So then you see something up, it's probably a fastball. It's just not really great for competitive balance in the first place. Anyways, it was like, well, we got rid of one of the causes of shrinkage, being apparently balls traveling from up and in to down and away from a same side pitcher to hitter. Apparently that caused additional shrinkage, but then that gave them the leeway to tune the other type of shrinkage further. And now we're really seeing low sinkers on both sides of the plate shrink. And because they're traveling away from the center of the zone, which I think is the point. Whatever pixel is in the center of the zone is what they use to determine how much it shrinks.
Yeah.
So
the only shrinkage that I could be okay with, and they've done this before, was when you extend outside the zone. It is harder to hit shit outside the zone. I get it. I'm down with that. If you want to nerf exit velos a little bit on those, within reason, fine. But if it's a pitch in the strike zone, the reason it's the strike zone is because those pitches are intended to be hit.
Right.
That's why they call them strikes, because you should be swinging and hitting them. So we should not be getting shrinkage within the zone we're expected to swing. I don't get that. I never will.
No, I mean, I agree with you.
Yeah. So do you think is this it now? This is the life we live? Or do you think there's a chance we could keep pushing back on this? Because this sounds like them digging their feet in.
I'm going to continue to push back on it.
I think we should. Like, I think we should do it constructively.
Right. I'm not just gonna sit here and be like, oh, boo, this sucks, whatever. Like, I'm gonna try and explain my perspective on why I don't think this logic makes sense for the game online, but at the same time, point out that it's too aggressive, even if they're going to stick with it. I'd be ecstatic if they cut it in half for Hall of Fame and Legend.
Sure.
It seems like
that'd be fine.
It like there needs to be like a maximum penalty on how much it can shrink. Like the PCI can shrink by over 50% on a pitch in the zone on good timing.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it still where the ball is smaller than, or the PCI is smaller than the ball on Legend. It just doesn't really. It's too aggressive for competitive balance reasons, and like front of mind for that for me is the tournaments are going to be just slider spam and Josh Hader spam. Unless
it was incredibly apparent to me that they released that big patch when they did because the next day was the Tampa Bay tournament. That's why it was done when it was done. That does not address the shrinkage stuff. But I think last night was the second round or whatever it was of the Sunburst Invitational, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like the finals of the second round. It
was the finals of the second round. So they dropped the patch the day before because they knew lots of people were going to be watching their game. So like, oh, let's make sure it's perfect. And that's also why I think Galaxy Brain tinfoil hat, the servers have felt really good the last 2 days. I'll give them their flowers. I'll give them their flowers when they deserve it. The servers have felt great. But I don't know. I can't see, like, this is, I'm not good enough to play for that type of money, but this is why if I was, I would not love it, because my $10,000 swing could just be a dice roll or a coin flip because of how much is my shit going to shrink? Is my exit velo going to be nerfed? That's the whole other point of this that we didn't really address. Not only does it shrink, your exit velo sometimes just dissipates.
Yep.
And that doesn't make a lick of sense either, because if it hits my barrel, I don't care how big it is, it's the barrel.
Right. I got knocked out of a raised tournament in 23 on a way off speed that just died at the wall. Yeah, also at the trop, which I was like,
acknowledge it, but yeah,
it's the trop, it's gonna happen. But like, I took a slider the other way and it died at the wall. That's how I got knocked out of the tournament.
And this is again, I think so into these things because I probably care too much about this video game. But like, Aaron Judge gets horrid shrinkage because his vision's not great, and among other things, he's got a bunch of host of.
He's tall as shit,
and he's giant. We're both Yankee fans. Yeah. I've seen Aaron Judge flick his wrists 100 times and hit home runs to the opposite field on pitches low and away. I've seen him do it constantly. Yep. So if you want realism, you are eliminating his ability to be real by adding shrinkage to him specifically, I guess. But just like, I'll never buy the realism bit. I just won't do it. And I think we need to continue speaking up, but also respectfully. Like, listen, I don't like the condescension either, but if you want change to be made, you can't just scream.
The condescension got me. And also, like, there's multiple people, like, in my community who are, like, on the fence about buying the game.
Yeah.
And then they did that and said, it's gone. Don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
It's the game you guys want. You asked for this. We heard you. And then they bought the game, and then shrinkage was still in the game.
Yeah.
And they came into my chat like, hey, what the heck? Like, they said there wouldn't be shrinkage. I'm like, give them time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I did the thing and my camera moved.
That's okay.
Got like one of the ones that'll like follow me around the room, but I also like to talk with my hands, so sometimes I turn it on and so anyways. Like, give them time. Because like I had passed feedback to Joe, the community manager at SDS, and I know a bunch of other creators who had, and that between all of us, we had gotten feedback that they're going to look into it, which was the best we were going to hear.
It's at least a response.
Right. Like, there have been times where I have sent them things and other people have sent them things, and it just goes out into the void, which I can understand if it's things they aren't at liberty to speak on. I am very appreciative of my relationship with SDS and do not take it for granted.
To your point, quickly to interject,
you will not be able to.
I appreciate the work that Joe and Vic do in the community as community managers, shout out to the both of you guys. Truly. I know you guys don't fix the game, but truly the fact that you listen and reach out to us proactively, shout out to you guys. So sorry to cut you off, but I just
no, you're good. You're good. Lost my train of thought.
People not buying the game.
Sometimes we reach out about things and they just can't comment on them, and you get either maybe as much as a thumbs up in response to it, which is hey, them even acknowledging things they can't discuss. Great, fine. We got responses on Shrinkage.
Yeah,
and I don't know this for sure. It seemed like they were trying to get creators that they work more directly with to aggregate clips for them, because you had a few streamers like posting, like looking for as many clips as possible in Twitter threads.
Yep.
So it seemed like they really were looking into it. It took 7 weeks for them to do anything, but it seemed like they were really looking into it. And then we get this.
Yeah,
it's just a slap in the face. Like multiple people bought the game because this was gone and it was going to make playing online more fun.
Yet here it is. I don't know. We joke. A lot of people joke. I'm one of them. You know, small indie studio, SDS.
Right.
The thing is, if you're a developer for a not indie game, MLB The Show is not an indie game. It is a large title that makes lots and lots of money. These cannot be passion projects. You can be passionate about the project, but you are not developing a game for you. You're developing a game for the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who play it. If you're the indie studio that's creating Expedition 33, do whatever the hell you want. That game was also a masterpiece. Not the point. Indie developers get the leeway to make decisions for themselves. When you're developing a AAA game, it should be entirely about what the community is asking for, unless your community is horribly misinformed. And I don't think we are. I like to think, for the most part, at the higher levels, we're a pretty informed community. At the higher levels. Not the children. Not the children.
I don't know. I don't know on that, to be honest. There are a lot of people who are better than me at this game that don't necessarily understand why they're better than me at this game, or like the mechanics that they're really that they're able to benefit from. Sometimes you do see tweets and it's like, no, that's not how that works. You'd still beat the ever living hell out of me on Legend or Goat, but like, no, actually, like, I had been talking about the strike zone thing before they made this change. Like, no, the strike zone's not broken. Yes, there's a bug where check swings can cause it to misread, but by and large, the strike zone itself isn't actually broken. The box is bigger than the actual ABS zone. And sure enough, in this patch notes, they're like, we shrunk the physical box on the screen. And the zone's not any different.
No, it's just going to force people to swing, which makes me feel happy about it.
Hopefully.
It did for me. I played 1.5 ranked games because we had a rage quit, and a lot fewer of those. How the fuck did you take those? Which is the biggest way to drive me insane. And that's not like a complaint about the player. It's a complaint about what we're playing.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't want to live in a world where going on what could be 4 years, if it trickles into next year, we're all still complaining about the same exact thing. If we're complaining for 4 years about a gameplay mechanic, not even about like something broad, we're a mechanic that impacts the way we play the game, it should go away. Or, as you said, and which I'd concede to, a 50% cap or something like that.
It seems like they've got a direction and they really want to stick to it.
But like,
no matter how much and how vocally we disagree.
I don't think that's the way to, and who am I? But like, I don't think that's the way to run a game studio.
I don't agree with it. I would hope they at least consider tuning it. You know, it can't be to a point where your input doesn't matter at all.
Yeah. And baseball is an RNG game. I get it. But we're not playing real baseball. When we're playing offline, you can make it feel as real as you want. When we're playing head to head against somebody, potentially for money or whatever the situation is, for rankings points, for rewards, for Weekend Classic, my input, if it's better than yours, I should win.
Right.
And even if we're talking in a vacuum, I should win that outcome. Like that one pitch, I should win that. Doesn't mean I should win the entire game, but I should win that instance.
Yes.
That moment.
You should get rewarded for your input. That is something I feel like I'm going insane. I've been saying that since I started streaming.
It's just like in real life. If I put in more work than my coworker, I should be rewarded more than that person is. Like it's very common sense. And you know, I tweeted this also the other day. Longtime listeners know I work in sports media. My job has like evolved over the course of time. My official job title is now content strategist. More so about like creating content and how we do like long-term plans, but it trickles into marketing. And you know a terrible strategy to boost goodwill in your community or harbor nice feelings is to talk to your consumers how you just talk to them. That's probably the worst strategy you can have. And I'd argue one that would result in my job not being there anymore. So like I cannot get behind that. I don't know who proofreads those things or who gives a final green check before sending it out. That communication style where it's basically passive aggressive while also not being passive in any way, shape, or form. Like it's pretty on the nose. Like it's not okay. It's not okay.
They already got all our money.
Listen, good for them for running the scheme of the century. Then, like,
I've probably have 200, 300 hours on the game already. Like,
I just hit 2.
I'm not getting a refund for this. Like,
yeah.
Microsoft isn't giving me my money back, but I mean, they just straight up lied. Unfortunately, like,
because at first when people they can, but at first people were saying they're lying, and I was trying to, similar to how you were saying, give them time. I was like, listen, I don't think they lied. I just think maybe they didn't know how to do it right away. So like, give them a second. I was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. They were like, you know, omission is still lying. I was like, I don't know if I fully vibe with that, but now I'm on board with they never intended to get rid of it fully. Never.
Yeah. I mean, taking this, I did it again. This rant at face value.
We're getting a full view of your room. I like it.
Yeah. Taking this rant at face value, because that's all we can really call it at this point is a rant.
Which is what this show is. Welcome to the show, the podcast.
Yeah. No, they took away shrinkage on pitches traveling down and away from you. Fine. That's not what they said they were going to do.
No.
So eventually they realized, because they wrote this stupid rant, that they said, we're going to take away pitches pitches down and away. Word for word. Shrinkage on pitches down and away. I have it up on the monitor in front of me. And they realized, maybe we misspoke. They didn't even admit that. They could have said, mea culpa, like that's not what we meant.
If you want to be the bigger person at that point, and I can at least be like, all right, you made a mistake.
I didn't mean to say, to say on pitches down and away, full stop. Like there's actually two drivers of shrinkage on pitches in the zone, plus being out of the zone, et cetera, et cetera. And we took away the one for pitches traveling down and away. And we feel like this has helped alleviate the concerns from the clips you guys have shared, from 25 specifically, because there were like egregious clips in 25.
Yeah. And I'm sure we've all experienced them too.
I posted plenty of them, and I eventually just gave up because they weren't going to listen after they made the adjustment to GOAT and then didn't make the adjustment to Legend.
Yeah.
But my strategy then was get through Legend as fast as possible and then go play GOAT until they took it away. But they didn't in this patch notes, they didn't do that. They were like, we said this. Not sorry, just we said this. Here's some clarity. Not we screwed up. Here's some clarity. You guys are wrong about what you want. It's just
I can never get behind that. I can never get behind talking to your consumers like that.
Is it easier to move your thumbstick to down and away, whether that be down left or down right, than it would be to get a bat down and away? Sure. Fine. You could just reward us on meatballs by increasing our PCI and not shrinking.
Also a fair pushback. Totally fair.
Like the meta in 22 for those who are unaware, the term super dots had a real meaning through the end of 22.
Yeah, bear down ain't super dotting, by the way.
No. You literally could pitch to the pixel because there was a bug in the game, or I don't even know if you can call it a bug, but there was this thing called
it was just I think it was just a thing in the code that was not a bug and not intentional. It was just there.
Well, it was intentional. They didn't realize we could exploit it.
There you go.
All of the competitive players, and it really was only a problem on, well, you could do it on All-Star, but basically you could do it more reliably the faster the pitches get on your screen, because there was this thing called pre-pitch information, and especially in like laggy games and whatever, let me back it up. The way online works, it's two offline games that send signals back and forth, and it transfers hosts
peer to peer.
Yeah, peer to peer.
That's when we say that. That's what that means.
Yeah, it's two offline games, and I mean it's not, but the game thinks you're playing an offline game basically, and the computer's being directed by your opponent to do certain things. That's why when you're playing someone who just the connection feels horrible, that's why it can sometimes take 3 seconds for a base runner to turn around, is because the host shifts back and forth depending upon whose input should theoretically have priority. So when like the transition points are after you've done like your pinpoint or your meter or whatever pitching input of choice, then it transitions to the hitter being the host, because that would be insane if you had to try and swing on 100 ping. And then once you've put it in, once you've taken your swing, it goes back to the player on defense. So then when you're base running, you have to get your base running signal to the other person's console, and then it has to come back to you. And that's when you see your base runners actually turn around. So that's why it can take literal seconds.
It's just a game. It's just a game of continent. It's a game of ping pong is all it is.
Right.
Yeah.
So I say I eventually figured it out, and it was confirmed by other competitive players. There was this thing called pre-pitch information for when there was not enough time for your inputs to get back and forth for that first transition between the pitcher doing their pitching input to the batter being able to swing. And instead of just holding the game up for an extra few seconds or whatever, it as you're like aiming your pitch, it would send that piece of information to the hitter's console right away. So then if the hitter's console did not receive the result of the pitching input to determine, where the pitch is going to go relative to the par, get a perfect or whatever, the ball would then go exactly to that pre-pitch information location to the pixel. They got rid of that in 23, and that's why super dots are no longer a thing. And that's also why you see sometimes on perfects, it starts traveling down towards where you threw it, and then it just changes direction and goes the opposite way. That would have been a super dot in 22, but now there's no pre-pitch information, so it just picks a random location and throws the ball there.
There you go. Listen, we play a game of issues sometimes, but I think also imagine if we had super dots with these new strike zones. I'm using air quotes, new strike zones that we now have.
That would be interesting.
It'd be hell.
It'd be really obvious right away.
Oh, sure. 100%. Yeah. Because you'd be touching the literally 1 millimeter.
It would be 1 pixel every single time.
Yeah. Yes. I guess the last thing I want to shoe into this with the shrinkage with, the strike zone complaints that I think now largely will be alleviated over time as people adjust to it. Like, this is now, in theory, the real life strike zone. Happy
if
with
they
that.
fix the check swing bug.
Correct. That is a bug that must be fixed. But the other big thing that's happened in the last week, this is why I've been saying this is one of the MLB The Show weeks ever, was the cheating stuff. And shout out to Kyle, your friend Kyle, for doing all the work. And the person who was the whistleblower was also a cheater, but also was kind enough to like put himself out there. Shout out to him as well. You would think in the period between launch night and this latest patch, with all of the very vocal pushback against cheaters, exploiters, the bot epidemic on Xbox, which seems to ebb and flow, kind of.
They've been doing things.
Who knows what, but something.
I don't ask, I don't get details, but from time to time, you get a message here and there, and it's like, keep an eye out. Let me know if there are still bots.
Yeah. But between all those things directly impacting online play, the cheating specifically, with how rampant it was and how SDS was doing seemingly not much to get it taken care of, I will say in the last week, I've had many direct conversations with community managers who have been asking me for help as well. So they are actively, and they have already started to do some things. You would think, though, they would try to harbor some goodwill with the community by just sensing how angry everybody is and giving them the one thing they want right now, which is no shrinkage.
Right.
It's all going to come back to that for me, because this is not how I would run a public facing thing. And who am I? Again, like, I'm just a guy. I have no gameplay development experience. I play the games a hell of a lot, but I just feel like as someone with like a sound mind who works in marketing, this is not the way. And I don't know the correct answer. I just think I'm going to stick to my guns, just like they're sticking to theirs.
I feel like the real answer needs to be some sort of compromise.
Which is how the world moves forward.
Like, I mean, we can't super dot high curveballs and screwballs anymore. Juan Marichal in 22 was disgusting because you could just put high
Valenzuela. Valenzuela was nuts too.
Both of them. It was disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
You could tunnel them and whatever. They fixed that. Great. Good for gameplay. Whatever. You can't abuse high off speeds, which they don't want. Clearly, they want high off speed pitches to
be punished. Yeah.
Which they include sinkers in, which is interesting because I've been getting back into like men's league baseball, and I'm going to be pitching more this summer. And like, I was like, all right, fine. How do I throw a sinker? Like, because I thought I had two changeups. One went left, one went right. And the one that like ran arm side went hard. I'm like, all right, maybe that was actually a sinker, and I was just screwing around with grips. I was wrong on that. A sinker's a two seam. You just pronate it.
Yeah, it's literally it. You just hold it inside the seams and go.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're including sinkers in this bucket of pitches that are supposed to be punished up in the zone.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just a two-seam fastball.
And sinkers now are not just ground ball pitches. Everybody throws a sinker, seemingly. They're up in the zone. They're away. Yeah. They're in, out, down. They're everywhere. It's not an off-speed pitch. It doesn't have to be low. Is it better low to get a grounder? Sure. But it's not a ground ball pitch anymore. It doesn't have to be. People are throwing them 101 miles an hour.
Yeah. No, you watch Cam Sliller. They're everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And that moves one way, and then you throw the cutter, and he keeps it up above the zone, moving the other way, and the tunneling is ridiculous. You can do some really creative things with throwing high sinkers now, which pitchers are starting to realize.
Mm-hmm.
SDS treats it like an off-speed pitch, and you get your PCI anywhere near a high sinker, it's going to get one, bigger, and two, you're going to get an exit velo buff, even if you miss it. But
yeah, for as many intentional things as they talk about gameplay being, the ones they're sticking to their guns on, in an effort to increase realism, I feel like if we put our heads together, a group of us, we could come up with 10 things that make zero sense.
Oh, like the sinker being one of them.
Correct.
But they do certain things for competitive balance reasons, and then they do other things to make it the most authentic on-field gameplay experience ever that directly go against competitive balance purposes. And there's just really no rhyme or reason to it.
Yeah. And the game does, again, I want to circle back because people always get hung up on this. I'm not saying if you're not a competitive player, you don't matter. That's not at all the point of this. But using the highest level of the game's functionality or the highest stakes to determine what's working and what's not, and adjusting off of that has a direct cascading effect on the rest of the game in a positive manner. So
there are probably, you know, there are probably plenty of swings people take who just don't know the game as well as we do. It's like, oh, dang, I guess I missed that. You know, I'll try and
you didn't though. You didn't.
Right. Right. Like if it didn't, even on All-Star, like there's shrinkage in BR now. Like you can see it. It's worse than years past. Like people are getting. I mean, I personally like All-Star because All-Star is not. I don't enjoy All-Star, but plenty of people do, and I wish I was one of them because that's where the most diversity in game modes are. You can play every single mode in the game on All-Star.
And your most diversity in lineups and your most diversity in matchup. Like it is the most diverse part of the game, and it is where the highest amount of the player base lives.
Yes. And then I just, some people aren't gonna realize that intentional game mechanic screwed them over and not their input. But if they, like, to your point, if they're learning from the best X percentage of the game, you know, and those of us who do really understand what's going on and what's causing things to break, what's causing, like, what we're taking, like, mechanics we're taking advantage of, like paying attention to a hitter's leg kick to figure out the speed of the pitch that's coming. Like, that's been a thing for 6 years. Like, do I make a YouTube video on it every year and make a few $100? Yeah, sure. Great. Awesome.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
like things like that just don't really, they're not good for competitive balance. They're not realistic.
And they're the most important thing is they're short-sighted because there are unintended consequences. We talked about the switch hitters. You know what would help stadium diversity? I genuinely think remove shrinkage and watch how many fewer balls die at the warning track at MLB stadiums. I'm not advocating for you to play at MLB stadiums. They don't play great. There's too many assets to render. I get it. But you would see more than just not even, I still play at Chip It, but you'd see more than just Colorado. You'd see more than Coors because the pitches you're swinging at on the other end of the plate will travel because you won't get nerfed and you'll hit it appropriately. Like there are unintended consequences that come from something that they're sticking to their guns on. And I don't think they're thinking beyond their hubris.
Yeah, no, most of the best players in the game are picking Coors because you can miss a down and away slider and it still leave oppo.
And I don't think it's they get more rewarded. It's I think they get less punished, which is the better way to put it, I think.
It's not even that. Like you get punished on line drives. Arguably
constantly. Everyone does. It's crazy. But yes, at Coors because the exit velos are higher. Yes.
The exit velos are higher. But the ball just hangs up more.
Like, it does.
They've changed it a little bit, how elevation actually impacts gameplay. It seems like it used to be just purely an exit velo modifier. And I guess that kind of made sense, but it doesn't take into account how air density is going to impact, you know, be effective if the ball's backspinning or whatever, and how long it's going to hang up. Like the reason that Coors is a playable field at 5,000 feet of elevation, at the size it is because balls will hang up more. You know,
yeah,
they're going to travel further, but you can play on a field that large. Like it's ridiculously large.
It's a very big field.
It's a very
big field.
You can play on a field that large because balls are going to hang up.
Yeah.
the way the MLB The Show hitting engine works doesn't mesh with that. Because they've said you can smoke ground balls still with like certain hitter types or whatever, but those always get into someone's glove because they dive at it. Because gloves have magnets in them. I don't know why, but literally gloves have like ball magnets in them in the game. Like
I think certain animations,
just there's a weird in general.
There's a relationship between when the ball is coming and when the relationship starts, and I think sometimes they don't communicate appropriately, because sometimes an animation automatically means I've caught the ball, and that animation will happen before the ball is within range, and I don't understand why.
Yes. They just need to continue to add more animations. Like it becomes a meme every year.
Oh, 300 new animations.
700 new animations, whatever.
Yeah.
They actually need variations of the same animations they already have, so that you can't tell if you're going to catch the ball 2 seconds in the future. But even on balls you don't catch, like you can smoke a line drive and they dive at it, and the ball is like at head height and they can't get their glove that high on a dive at full extension. The ball still like dives and then keeps going, even if it misses the glove. Like I don't know where they are, but I've got multiple clips of this where like the ball's just going like this, and then the glove is here and it goes, and then keeps going. It doesn't make any sense.
There's a weird force field around it, or that sometimes sucks it in.
Right. I mean, I guess it just makes it easier to code the animation and like keep the game from freezing. Maybe, I don't know. There has to be a reason. They haven't really. That's one of the things that never gets addressed if I ever ask. But I don't know what I'm trying to say, but
no,
Cores is just it's not a rewarding gameplay experience.
No,
you can just miss the ball and it leave because of 5K elevation. But
which that's shrinkage and otherwise. That's even if shrinkage wasn't a problem, that would still happen. But because there is shrinkage, it helps kind of forget about some of that.
The argument that I hear is like, I can only play at Cores because that's the only place where my swings are rewarded. And that just hasn't ever been my experience there. Like, I feel like my best swings end up as just really hard lineouts or whatever, other than like the obvious 27-degree launch angle, 520-foot bomb.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I get scammed more there, and it's just compensated for by bad home runs.
Yeah.
And I've seen, and I've done it too. Like, I've seen plenty of times where players my skill level and above are like, well, I deserved that home run on the ball that wasn't even in my outer PCI because I got scammed on the pitch before. And yeah, you know what? If you're that good at the game, you're not going to get rewarded more, but you're going to score. You're more likely to score 10 more than your opponent very quickly. If you're going to at least have good timing and get close on basically every swing.
Yeah, all you got to do is get close. That's the name of the game there.
Right. Like,
it's actually worse to hit it perfect, I think.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah,
because of line drive.
You definitely want to be early.
Yes.
Perfect.
Early and under it.
You're better off early than perfect on outside pitches, of course. Which
that's realistic.
What a mechanic, right? Like, oh yeah, no, it's perfect, but that means it's probably going to be a line drive at the right fielder with Mike Trout or whatever.
Yeah, I abuse the left fielders, of course. The left fielders at Cores get absolutely abused.
Yep. But I'm not perfect. I'm early. Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna hit it 35 degrees up in the air at 102 exit velo, and it's gonna barely make it over the 340-foot wall. The amount of people I've played that's their entire strategy. Like, I can't throw an away off speed because it's just going to go straight up and hang in the air over the wall.
Just all you got to do is scoop it and loop it. I know.
Especially in BR, like it's almost too easy to score there. Not to hit, because I see hitting as more like the art of pitching, the art of hitting. Like, you take a ball where it's pitched and like try and do damage with it. Like, you don't have to sit here and pull home runs every time. Of course, you can just pull home runs every time, no matter where the ball is.
Just barely.
It can be low and away. It can be up and away and completely out of the zone, and you can still pull it. Like, there's a reason the best players in the world use very specific players whenever they get a version of them, and it's because they have like the hitter tendency and like an early leg kick and stuff, because they can just always be early and under the ball and pull it out. Like
a very realistic gameplay mechanic.
Right.
Yeah, guys. So what's up?
It goes to what you said of like, they probably don't have enough people there who work there who are that good at the game.
I don't think so.
Understand these downsides. Because if you're not playing a few hundred games on Legend a year
to see it all,
you're not going to see all the permutations of what this game can actually do on the highest difficulty.
Yeah, and it's a small staff, so they have to spend time on the game, not playing it, doing stuff on it. So like, it's a very difficult situation. And I know if you've all just listened to this last hour plus, first of all, thank you. Shout out to Watch Time. Secondly, this has sounded like, and kind of was, a negative MLB The Show rant. I think people need to understand where we're coming from as people who are passionate about the game. Generally speaking, if you've made it this far, you're also one of those people. So like, this comes from a place of wanting the game to be better. I do think, and if you guys are interested in it, let me know in the comments. I might put something together of like the unintended consequences of shrinkage, because it's now really got me thinking, just talking about it a little bit. Like, aside from switch hitters, we know that, but maybe stadiums, maybe it's something I could think about, because I want to present as much information to the people who can make changes, because that's the only way changes are made. Like, we can't just always scream, I hate shrinkage, and expect it to go away. We have to like provide proof, which is what the screenshots and the gameplay clips and all that stuff helped to do. They just decided to dig their heels in, and I don't know why. So I found this conversation productive. I hope you guys did too. J Mills, where can they find you if they are not already following you?
Yes. This is my Twitch handle right here. Oh, the mic's in the way. There you go.
And actually, I might be covering it with the overlay. It's JMills_.
Yes, JMills_. On YouTube, it's just JMills. Actually, what am I on Twitter? That's a great question. Because I have a link tree in my Twitter bio that has everything.
So find his Twitter first, and then go from there.
Yeah, Twitter. Yeah, exactly. Twitter is the JMills01.
There you go. And I think that might even be under your name in the overlay when I create it. So just go from there. Perfect. Go to the link tree, follow everywhere.
You can get to everything from there. There's a link tree in the description. I hope everything I've said has been helpful for you guys listening.
I think so. But yes, for the listener, I hope so as well.
I tend to rant a lot about the minutia of this game, because through having played it for thousands of hours every year, you learn some things. So
yeah, and that's why
if you want to learn more, then you can check out my content.
Go hang out over there. Yes, that's why I knew you'd be valuable. And for people we should have said this up front, it doesn't matter. J Mills is obviously always in Chev's streams and chats, and his co-op partner has you still edit for him, or just in the past you edited for him?
Just in the past. I did not have time when it came to senior year of college, and then
don't blame you,
a real job
afterwards.
But like college, I didn't really take all that seriously. I had to lock it in for the last semester.
Yeah. So again, just enforcing someone who's always in the community, is around, and knows what's going on. So that's why I wanted him here. Glad he got here. Guys, thank you for making it to the end. If you did, as always, let me know your thoughts on literally anything we talked about. It's okay to disagree. So if you disagree, let me know, but let's be nice about it. And again, if we're speaking up on shrinkage, let's do it in a way that's conducive to actually making a change. You have every right to feel angry if you are. You have every right to feel whatever. But when we're approaching this from a position of attempting to make a change, we have to do it a certain way.
What? Oh, my camera did a weird thing.
And now we're really zoomed in. We're going to end on that. Thank you guys. Love you guys. See you next time.
Bye.